worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come with me. Come, come, whoever you are. Wonder worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come once more. Come, come, whoever you are. Wonder worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come.
Good morning. I'm Lisa Conger, your lay leader this morning. So I'm here to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane. We're glad to have you. You see us as a welcoming congregation, and we appreciate your unique backgrounds, beliefs, lifestyles. If you're one of our longtime members or have been here a short time, or are you returning, or joining us for the very first time, we're delighted to have you. Welcome to everyone. And before we greet one another, I just have one announcement that there's no nursery care today, but I don't see any little ones. So maybe they already know that. Okay. I would like to especially welcome and briefly introduce our guest speaker, Esteban Herevia. Okay. President and CEO of Spokane Pride. I will more fully introduce him later in the service. And I'd also like to welcome our special musician for today, Kevin Gardner, who's been a longtime member of our congregation, a friend, and who's come back to Spokane. And we also have a guest pianist, Matt Danielson, who is the vice president of Spokane Pride. So please take a few moments now and greet one another, and be sure to say hi to someone you haven't met yet.
Oh yeah. I was gonna go meet somebody. I really was.
Thank you. We'll have more time after the service to enjoy each other's conversation at the coffee hour. We now turn from our informal greeting of one another to formally begin our service by lighting our chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism, the symbol of our unity and solidarity, of our openness and inclusion, of our community and individual uniqueness. May this small flame be our offering of warmth to those who are cold and alone, and a beacon of hope to those in need. And may it reflect at least a spark of truth wherever truth has been lost, and cast a healthy shadow of doubt where it's been found. Our morning reflection, opening words, is this poem by Bob Janice Dillon, D-I-L-L-O-N, not Bob Dylan, that we know. Jesus at the parade. Later, there were mutterings at the bar and throughout the law courts that Jesus only showed at the gay pride parade to love the jewel, but not the quality, to love the potluck, but not the food, to love the vessel, but not the wine, to love the hot rod, but not the driver, to love the baby, but not the drool, to love the rock, but not the cathedral, to love time, but not history. To which I say, if you saw him on the float, his arm cradling the jubilant and the grave, his head thrown back in ecstasy, harboring kisses without restraint, if you had heard the songs which rose among us to possess the city's tender hearts in common, if you had desired as we had, ached in the body's soul places, you would not so easily doubt the divine, particular gushing joy that told us we were his own.
And we're going to sing one of those songs right now. It's number 1053 in your turquoise hymnal, or you can access the screen. Please stand to sing, How Could Anyone?
Each time we gather as a congregation, there are always those who are with us in our minds and hearts, and who we want to wrap in our love and care. We kindle light this morning for them, including the people of Ukraine and Russia who are in this battle, for people who supported the Gay Pride Parade yesterday and who are our allies. If there is anyone else who would like to share their names, you may say them out loud. Let us share a moment in silence, embracing others who are in our hearts this morning. You're welcome to say their names aloud as you are willing. Those named aloud and those remembered in the silence, and all those who are suffering elsewhere in our world this hour, we hold in our community of compassion. We now gratefully give and receive this morning's offering, which sustains this community and its mission to the larger world.
You with the sad eyes, don't be discouraged. Oh, I realize it's hard to take courage in a world full of people. You can lose sight of it all, and the darkness inside can make you feel so small. But I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful like a rainbow. Show me a smile then. Don't be unhappy, can't remember when I last saw you laughing. If this world makes you crazy and you've taken all you can bear, you call me up because you know I'll be there. 'Cause I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. Your true colors are beautiful like a rainbow. If this world makes you crazy and you've taken all you can bear, call me up because you know I'll be there. 'Cause I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors, true colors, your true colors keep shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. Your true colors are beautiful like a rainbow.
Well, it's time for the story for all ages, and so if I have some young ones that want to come sit down front to see the pictures, come on up. And many of you know I'm a retired school teacher, and so I'll be showing you the pictures as well. Thanks for joining me. You have to give them hope. Hope for a better world, hope for a better tomorrow. Harvey Milk was an ordinary man, but he had an extraordinary dream. The dream that would change history. Harvey dreamed that everyone, even gay people, would have equality. He dreamed that he and his friends would be treated like everyone else. He dreamed that one day people would be able to live and love as they pleased. With his New York accent, Harvey talked to everyone about his dream. His voice boomed, his body bounced with energy and excitement. Some people listened, a few agreed, most did not. But Harvey's big voice and his big dream couldn't be stopped. He discovered that the best way to change laws was to help make laws. In 1977, Harvey Milk took a big step toward that dream when he became one of the first openly gay people to be elected to political office in the United States. Harvey and his friends planned marches to protest inequality and unfair laws. And just days before one of the marches, Harvey had an idea. A symbol, he thought. We need a symbol that shows who we are and how we feel. Something to carry during the march, something to make people feel like they're a part of a community, something to give people hope, something extraordinary. Harvey knew an artist who could help, Gilbert Baker. Harvey asked, and Gilbert said, "We need a flag." Volunteers arrived to help Gilbert's design come to life. Together, they dipped fabric into large barrels filled with vibrant dyes. They cut and they pieced and they sewed until, what do you suppose they made? What do you think? A flag. Harvey, Gilbert, and other activists had a flag with 8 colorful stripes, a flag that Harvey hoped would give hope. Rights are only won by those who make their voices heard. On June 25th, 1978, when it was time for the march, a breeze stirred in San Francisco. The flag unfurled. The wind blew, the flag fluttered, flapped, and flew, a rainbow as bright and unique as the men and women who walked behind it. Harvey and the people asked for equality. They asked to be treated like everyone else. They asked to live and love as they pleased. They hoped the march would make a difference. So if you were at the parade yesterday, you might have seen some of these costumes and even more. 5 months later, on the morning of November 27th, 1978, Harvey and the mayor of San Francisco, George Moscone, were assassinated. Their lives were taken by a man who did not think like Harvey, or feel like him, or love like him. The flag did not fly on that dark, sad night. Instead, thousands and thousands of people marched silently, carrying candles. The candlelight wove through the streets of San Francisco and up and down hills around city buildings. A mile of glowing candlelight. Lost it at the first service, too. A mile of glowing candlelight in honor of 2 lives lost. That could have been the end of Harvey's dream and the colorful flag, but it wasn't. More rainbow flags were created. Some of the colors changed. 8 stripes became 6. But the meaning of the flag did not change. It was a flag of equality. More and more people began to think of that flag as their flag, and they began to feel pride. They began to have hope. Do you see what that word says in those flags? What does it say? Can you tell me? Hope. In 1994, Gilbert Baker designed another rainbow flag. This one was larger than all the rest. Women and men side by side carried the flag, a proud, mile-long flag floating through New York City. The flag wove through the streets, up and down the avenues and the boulevards and around the city buildings. The people demanded equality. They demanded to be treated like everyone else. They demanded to live and love as they pleased. They were proud. They had hope. They would make a difference. I asked for the movement to continue and for the movement to grow. And I learned in the facts section in the back of this book that this flag was not only a mile long, but 30 feet across. Pretty amazing. More rainbow flags were made. Some were printed on bumper stickers and T-shirts. Others were hoisted onto lampposts on Halsted Street in Chicago. One was hung in the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. And soon, the rainbow flag was flying in other countries, like Brazil, England, Israel, Russia, Singapore, and Turkey. The rainbow flag now unfurled on farms and in the suburbs and in cities. The flag flew proudly outside public buildings, hotels, shops, restaurants, churches, and homes. And once, on June 26th, 2015, the White House was awash in the colors of the rainbow. Equality, pride, hope, love. Harvey's dream became a flag for us all. And the kids in Sunday school Children's Chapel today are going to learn more about that, but I wanted to share with you the meaning of the different stripes on the flag. The red stripe represents life, the orange, healing, the yellow, sunlight and new ideas, the green, nature and prosperity, the blue, serenity, and the purple, spirit. The black and brown stripes on the side were added later, and they represent people of color. And the pink and blue are the typical representations of boys and girls, and the white represents our transgender population. So, would you sing the children out to Children's Chapel for me?
It is now time for our meditation. I invite you to find a comfortable, receptive posture. Take a few deep breaths. Close your eyes if you wish. We'll enter the silence after these words from Kate Bowler. Blessed are you, friend, sitting among the shards of what could have been. It is broken now, that dream you loved, and it has spilled out all over the ground. Blessed are you, dear one, letting your eyes look around and remember all the hope your dream once contained, all the love, all the beauty. Blessed are you, telling your tears they can flow, telling your anger it can speak. Blessed are you when mourning is the holy work of the moment, for it speaks of what is real. Blessed are you, letting this loss speak all of its terrible truth to your soul. Blessed are we who mourn, saying, let us remain in grief's cold winter for as long as it takes. That mourning might be to our hearts the gentlest springtime.
Words create worlds. God spoke in Genesis, their language distilling into stars, oceans, planets. And God still speaks today, always innovating and constantly creative. They do not bend to cultural progress. Rather, she leads the way. Not innovation for innovation's sake, but the plan of an upside-down kingdom where the last are first, and the dinner table is set for the unlikeliest of guests. Their magnetic love draws in the outsider and swings wide the doors for any and all. Religious elites look on, shaking their heads at this lavish outpouring of outrageous grace. Words create worlds. God spoke in Genesis, their language distilling into stars, oceans, planets, and God still speaks today as their voice echoes and new constellations dance into view. May we have minds that stretch wide enough to perceive the vastness of their imagination, and may we have ears to hear, unoffended by the greatness of their grace, even when its boundaries are farther than our own.
I am my own special creation. So come take a look. Give me the hook or the ovation. It's my world that I want to have a little pride in. My world, and it's not a place I have to hide in. Life's not worth a damn till you can say, hey world, I am what I am. I am what I am. I don't want praise, I don't want pity. I bang my own drum. Some think it's noise, I think it's pretty. And so what if I love each feather and each spangle? Why not try and see things from a different angle? Your life is a sham till you can shout out loud, I am what I am. I am what I am, and what I am needs no excuses. I deal my own deck, sometimes the ace, sometimes the deuces. There's one life and there's no return and no deposit. One life, so it's time to open up your closet. Life's not worth a damn till you can say, hey world, I am what I
Thank you, Kevin. It's wonderful to hear your voice again. Esteban Herevia is the president and CEO of Spokane Pride, the organization that produces the Spokane Pride Parade and Festival. He co-founded Wonderfully Made Spokane, a nonprofit entrusted with increasing inclusion and celebration of LGBTQ+ people in faith communities. Esteban is a strategist for health justice and belonging at the WSU Elson Floyd College of Medicine, and he was recently recognized in the Spokane Coeur d'Alene magazine's Spokane Coeur d'Alene Living 20 under 20 magazine's list. Welcome, Esteban.
Thank you so much for having me this morning. It truly is an honor and a pleasure to be with y'all. Did anybody go to the Pride Parade or the festival yesterday? Okay, good. A majority of us. Good, awesome. Okay, so when we're talking about Pride, you know what I'm talking about today. You know, it was wild when Nancy asked me to come speak this morning, and she was like, "Are you going to have the energy to do this?" And I was like, I told her, I was like, this is exactly what we do. This is why we do it, and so it truly is an honor to be here with you. And it was funny when I was thinking about what do I want to talk about and how do I want to frame this morning. We did not choose this. The very first line in the book this morning was, you have to give them hope for a better world, hope for a better tomorrow. And I actually, my plan was to talk about hope. And understanding our position and our activity in hope. I also chose the meditation for today, talking about the reality of grief and how we hold the tension of pain and sorrow and dreams that might not have become fulfilled, but it's through time and space and through movements and reformation that we find ourselves in springtime. And I also want to recognize that this journey for me has been completely unexpected. In the bingo card of life, leading a Pride organization was not on it. It has been a dream to be in this space, to be leading in the ways that I have been so graciously accepted into leading. And I think I find myself most days just overcome with gratitude for those who have come before me, gratitude for those who continue to support us. One of the things that I reflect on, especially after hearing the reading again, on January 6th, when the insurrection happened of the White House, I actually just happened to be on a phone call with the first Pride organizers of the Boston Pride, San Francisco Pride, and Chicago Pride. We were on a phone call together. And it was one of those moments of it was so surreal to hear them share their experiences organizing the very first parts of the movement, and then watching this, stupid mess happening in front of us, and to hear them say, our original intention was love. We wanted to let people know that they were loved, that they could express their love, that they had pride in themselves, and here we are, 52 years later with the same message and the same intention. And it's so interesting to me that we have folks and we have time-stamped Pride as a movement for hope and for building it. And it's wild to consider that here we are 30 years later in Spokane, still with the same message, still with the same motivation, and just a whole lot bigger. Yesterday, I don't know about for y'all, but it was overwhelming. Folks have been asking us, what are the numbers? And to tell you the truth, I have no idea. And the reason why I say that is, we know for a fact that there was one point where every single piece of the park was full, and the capacity within those parks were at least 5,000 in each area. So for us to be at capacity in multiple spaces at one time meant that there were easily 10,000 people in that space at once. It's wild. And especially when we consider the history of Pride here specifically in Spokane, it was a couple hundred folks that first time. Right? I'm learning that there were a few of you who were there the first day, and you remember what it was like. You remember what that motivation was. You remember that same feeling, and it is so wild to me that we continue to feel the same motivation, the same need, the same desire to see our community walk into its fullness. A lot of folks say, well, don't you reflect on how sad that is? And I have to look at it as an opportunity, because to me it means that hope is still relevant even today. Pride is still something that we need, and it is, we can't take it for granted. We cannot take it for granted. I came into this work by accident. I think some of y'all know Michael Jepson. He encouraged me to volunteer one day. I was only supposed to drive a golf cart for 1 hour. That was going to be my job. I had been an events producer before. I lived somewhere else beforehand. I was a large event producer over there, so I know what it was like to put stuff on. And that Pride, Michael got injured, and he had to be carted away by an ambulance. And right before, he gave me all of the notes and said, go. And I was like, Michael, I'm just supposed to be here for an hour. And he was like, well, I know you're competent enough to carry it out. Go. And ever since then, I have found myself connected to the work, and it's been a privilege, an honor. It's been such a dream come true, especially for me and my story. I came out for the first time when I was 15. And instead of being accepted with love, and instead of being met with celebration, I was met with violence. My father decided in that moment to not respond very well. He beat me until I was unconscious, and my mother had to drag my body into the house just to keep me safe. From that point on, I was homeless. That was at 15 to about 23. I got myself through high school, got myself through college. I also turned to church at the time. I come from a long line of pastors. My parents are pastors, my aunts and uncles, they're pastors, my grandparents are pastors. Technically, I'm the next one in line to take over the family church. I was almost ordained in the church. I worked in a bunch of churches. And I went through a process called conversion therapy. And conversion therapy, for those of us who may not know, is an unofficial, terrible, so-called therapeutic practice to make gay people, LGBTQ plus people straight, mostly used by religious organizations. And I turned to it. I thought that was my answer. That was my response to make what I thought was this great sin, to what I thought was my biggest failure, the biggest moral, whatever you want to call it, to make it right. And I did it for about 7 years. I went through it, and I thought it was what I had to do, and I hit a point where I recognized and I realized how much I was dying inside. And I had to ask myself, was it worth it? Was it worth the cost of denying myself of everything just because this one piece of me was bad? And thankfully, I had a lot of friends and a lot of people who came alongside me to remind me how good I actually was. And it's been 10 years since I was in that world, in that reality. And to be here in Spokane and to have the opportunity to talk about hope and to give people the space to imagine the reality of their fullness for me is 100% unexpected. But I also have to reflect that if I've made it this far, so can you. I know I'm young. I know that I have not. I know that I still have a lot to learn and lots of ways to grow. But I also know that if I've made it this far, that I have a message and a story, and I have a way to remind folks that they can make it too, and that the possibility of hope is not out of reach. And it's through the language that we use, it's through the ways that we decide to show up in spaces, it's the way that we welcome in others into our lives. It's through those ways that we can truly change our community. One of the greatest ways and one of the biggest evidences for me, especially here in Spokane, has been through Pride. The fact that we have a captive audience where we can let people know that they are loved and accepted and they have worth and that their bodies are beautiful. I just can't. Yesterday we had the folks around the stage, we had them say, I am beautiful 10 times. And at the beginning it was very quiet and people were really shy to say I am beautiful. And by the 10th time we got people to really say it and proclaim it. And I just kept thinking about how many folks, how many people was at their very first time saying that out loud, because they may not have heard it at home, or they may not have heard it from other people. How many people maybe have heard that they're loved, or that they have worth, or have had the opportunity to show up and express it and be it and feel it and live into it and it is the greatest a burden that I think that I carry, especially when I consider the work that we do, because it's so crucial. There are so many stories today now where folks are sharing about how they felt and what they experienced. I mean, for a lot of us, COVID was very hard, right? And so the fact that we were able to come together in such a big way, I think also had a lot of significance for folks. And so I just want to thank you for showing up, for being a part of it, for waving a flag or giving somebody a hug. However you participated, thank you. Because we don't know the ripples, right? We don't know how all of that's connected. And for those of us who are on the LGBTQ plus within the community, I hope that you felt it. I hope that you felt connected. I hope that you felt some sense of community. I hope that you understood that you belonged. And if you didn't, let me know how we can change that. Because I'm not in this to maintain. I'm not in this to keep doing what we've always done. I'm in this to change it. And if there are better ways that we can be doing it, please let us know. I know Matt and I, we're already in 2023. Earlier we were sitting saying, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to change this. We're going to add this. When we have that, the reality is if we're going to keep serving thousands and thousands of people, then we have to be thinking about a new way of doing this. And I think that's such a beautiful and wonderful experience for us. It was awesome to see the parade and to watch it go by. And, in 2019, we welcomed, it was something like 1,200 people into the parade. This year, our numbers were closer to 3,000. We also had a significant increase in the number of booths that were there. It's growing, and it feels like the message is getting out there. But for the rest of our time, I actually wrote this reflection, meditation, back in 2020. It's also been a rough couple of years for me personally. In November of 2020, I got COVID and I was hospitalized with COVID. My kidneys failed twice. I've been dealing with a lot of after stuff. In January, I had a stroke. And in January, I also lost a family member who was very close in a very, very violent way. And so walking into this season for me has felt like there hasn't been much hope. It's felt like the feelings of love and acceptance and have been very, very far away. And I have to remind myself that hope is the way through. So if I can, I'd like to spend the rest of my time with you sharing this reading that I did for another project. So feel free to move into a space of, if it's meditation or relaxation, however you intake that, listen, reflect, whatever it may bring up for you. Hope will. Hope makes. Hope does. Hope is. 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 I find myself abandoned by hope most days, left with no smile to show or emotion to share, because to do so can cost my life, and actually it has. My mind scratches like an old record, replaying the same words over and over again. How can I make this feel comfortable? The words the nurse said as I laid in a hospital bed, overcome by fever and breath. He looked me straight into the eyes and asked, how can I make this feel comfortable? Hope led me to believe that I could go completely unscathed by the scariest measure of life, death. Hope left me here, lying, gray, breathless, aching. I thought hope was supposed to be about looking to heaven while trudging through hell, or imagining a life of abundance. Instead, it has turned into counting breaths and making sure there is enough of them to keep this body moving. Hope doesn't look how it did before. Hope will. Hope will see things in a new way. I have to be honest, I have been through some pretty tough shit. Like the life shit that should have taken me out years ago, the kind of shit that they make movies out of, but they won't because it's too real and I don't come in standard packaging. So I have to do it for myself. I must shout from the rooftops, I am the embodiment of my ancestors. I am a spirit full of lessons learned, heartbroken, beaten, hidden until now. I must proclaim with enough hope to know I am here even when I find myself abandoned by hope these days. Why? To do so already honors who I am, who I was always created to be, who I am becoming, and who I will become. Doors will close. People will leave. I am me to myself forever. Hope makes. Hope makes a way. Hope does. Hope does wild things to me. It makes me believe I have full worth and full value. It makes me see those around me with the same value and worth. It calls me to engage with people in ways that leak of joy or reek of happiness. It asks me to sit and listen and learn and watch for my benefit and to participate in the exploration of my neighbor. Good or bad, hope makes me feel connected to you. To know that you've walked through stuff too reminds me we were in this together to begin with. Of all the things, conflict is a manifestation of that reminder. Hope also does some weird shit like reconcile an abandoned son to his father, or nurse to comfort someone close to the end of their life, or cause systems of injustice to fall because far too many black people have been killed at the hands of racism and oppression. That shit is just wild. Hope is a current in our liberation. So my body size, ability to swim, and lack of exposure to the outdoors make for the perfect worst decision to float the Spokane River 2 summers ago. Leading up to getting into the water, my head replayed every possible negative outcome. The tube flips, I drown, I die. I hit my head on a rock, I drown, I die. I'm terribly afraid of snakes. So a snake is in the water, it bites me, I drown, I die. Normal thoughts when you're going to float the Spokane River, right? And the worst actually happened. My tube popped. I was beyond the weight limit of the tube, and it popped as soon as it hit intense rapids. And thankfully I was with friends, and without even missing a beat, they grabbed my legs, coached me through keeping my body afloat until we made it to a slower part of the river. The relief I felt when I was able to stand up is hard to capture. We celebrated how well we navigated the situation, threw back a beer, and continued down the river. There's a lot to be said about the rest of that trip and how we had no choice to continue on. But when I reflect on the movement of the water that day, I distinctly remember my body being pulled into multiple directions, multiple currents fighting over which direction my body would go. Whether it was up or down, side to side, my body continued to go forward. Here's what I'm getting at. Hope is present with us even in the most dangerous of currents. It is also not the only current moving. It flows in tandem with love, joy, peace, hatred, anger, frustration, abuse, trauma, dreams, and sadness. But when I think about it, hope is the rocky parts of the water that keeps the currents moving. To be able to believe in ourselves so that we can be free, that is hope. It's hard to do and even harder to maintain, but it is possible because hope moves us forward. I also believe hope is the movement toward our whole selves, our full selves. Hope is a manifestation of who you are meant to be and the things that we go through. To have hope is pretty tough and most of the time a privilege, but it's not impossible. In the tradition that I grew up in, we gathered in the name of a baby born of a virgin who gave birth, surrounded by animals, this weird thing. And if that's what brought us together, then I think I have enough hope to know that I and you will arrive, that you will be seen, that you will experience love, that you will have joy. We will experience peace. Hope will. Hope makes. Hope does. Hope is. Hope will. Hope makes. Hope does. Hope is. Now your turn. Hope will. Hope makes. Hope does. Hope is. I could not be more grateful for the season of life I find myself in. Yes, my family, we have been through a lot, but I am very grateful that now my family, my parents are my greatest champions. We've been through a lot, and they have, it is amazing to have them by my side. And I'm very, very grateful, and I just really hope that folks know that it is possible and that reconciliation is totally a thing, and we have the tools available to us. So thank you so much for your time this morning.
sing one more song. This is a song that was sung at the very first Pride Parade in Spokane in 1992. I just learned that from Kevin this morning. So please rise as you're willing and able to sing We Are a Gentle, Angry People by Holly Near.
There is too much hardship in this world to not find joy every day. There is too much injustice in this world to not right the balance every day. There is too much pain in this world to not heal every day. Each of us ministers to a weary world. Let us go forth now and do that which calls us to make this world more loving, more compassionate, and more filled with the grace of divine presence every day. Amen. Blessed be. Salam alaikum and shalom.
Shalom Haverim, Shalom Haverim, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Haverim, Shalom Haverim, Shalom, Shalom. Here's something.